At the opening ceremony of the forum, the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the Bank of Industry, Mr. Rasheed Olaoluwa, in his welcome address said the dwindling revenue from crude oil makes it imperative for the bank to refocus its attention on the country's solid minerals sector.
The dwindling oil revenue in recent times has made solid minerals development very imperative as a means of revenue diversification. The federal government of Nigeria has identified 44 solid minerals that are available in commercial quantities in the country. These minerals, when effectively harnessed, can uplift the nation's economy through value addition, employment generation, improved tax revenue, and general economic growth. Distinguished guests, BOI decided to organize this forum in order to provide a platform for the key stakeholders to discuss and address these issues. We also hope that the forum will help to create investment interest in the sector by Nigerian entrepreneurs. At BOI, we are willing to provide financial and business support services to such entrepreneurs. I hope this forum will assist to broaden your perspective on the investment opportunities that are bound in the solid mineral sector and the great potentials that it holds for the rapid development of our dear country, Nigeria. There is no better time for this forum than now, given the resolve of the federal government to create a conducive environment for investment and to diversify Nigeria's economic base.
The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Mines and Solid Minerals, represented by the Director of Mines Inspectorate Division, Mr. Dauda Awojobi, declared the forum open. He said this platform will enable all stakeholders generate new ideas and investment in the sector.
I'm particularly delighted that an event like this is organized at this time. The federal government is refocusing attention and commitment toward rejuvenating the mineral sector as a spinner for socio-economic development of the country, considering the sector's vast potentials. You will agree with me that there is no better time than now for Nigeria to diversify our economic base away from the oil sector. Having done this, I wish to call on all of you to thoroughly address issues raised in this presentation and, of course, in the subsequent paper that we presented, and come up with meaningful suggestions on how to move the sector forward. On this note, I wish to thank all of you and to declare this open, wishing you a fruitful deliberation. Thank you.
In his presentation, the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, Mr. Chukwuma Ezedimma, highlighted some of the challenges hampering the development of mining in the country.
The challenges we have facing the mining sector, especially solid minerals mining. The sector business operations is highly informal. Political will and government priorities have to be realigned. In any case, as we stand today, we have no option. We just have to develop the sector. So moving forward, I would recommend, the last speaker mentioned the issue of standards. UNIDO already is running the Nigerian Quality Infrastructure Program. Under this program, it is possible for us to support the certification and standardization in the solid minerals program.
The Permanent Secretary of Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, Ambassador Musa Abdulkadir, while commending the Bank of Industry for its vision, urged all the participants to make good use of the forum to transform the mining sector in the country.
The organization of this forum has again underscored the position of the Bank of Industry in the front burner towards transforming the Nigerian industrial sector with a view to integrate it into the global arena. We are witnessing the various laudable endeavors of the bank targeted at converting Nigeria's comparative advantages to competitiveness in the bid to develop the Nigerian economy and create wealth for the nation and its citizens.
The way forward for the sector, first and foremost, we have to have credible information because no investment is possible without credible information to be able to identify the characteristics of these minerals and also the exact quantum of what is available. Followed by that, we need to process them into usable form because we know they do occur in unusable form. So we need technology. We need mineral processing technology to be able to do that. We also need to improve investment drive. That is why we are here today. Part of the investment drive is for us to share ideas here and then see how we can move forward.
The Director General of Nigerian Mining Cadastral Office presented his paper on the power of the mine, a transformative opportunity for Nigeria.
According to International Council on Mining and Metals, that is the ICMM, I quote, mining projects are a source of livelihood and well-being for millions of people. They estimated that the formal mining sector provides over 2.5 million direct employment to people worldwide, while about 15 to 20 million artisanal and small-scale miners are reported by the World Bank to be operating in 30 countries with about 80 to 100 million people depending on such mining for their livelihood. The power of the mines, therefore, is all-encompassing, ranging from power generation, provision of infrastructure, industrialization, revenue generation, provision of employment, wealth creation, poverty reduction, and addressing insecurity problems, among others.
Mr. Adeniji is a legal and policy advisor as well as investor in the mining sector. He made a case for possible interventions in the sector in order to make it economically viable for the country.
I support the view that the idea of the strategic minerals now needs even to be brought more to the fore. To the extent that we're trying to develop an industrial sector and there are industrial minerals in this country, we need to put a lot of focus on those minerals and see how we can support investors who are seeking to explore or exploit those minerals to the extent that they can actually help realize the multiplier effects that we want in the country. These are minerals that don't necessarily have to be exported. These are minerals that we can use here in the country. Mines Inspectorate, I have to say this really, because everyone generally here knows there's too much illegal mining going on in the country. Far too much. More than will benefit the country, whether in the short, medium, or long term. We've got to shut it down. So the Mines Inspectorate needs to be resourced. Mines police, or whatever you need to do as a key initiative to back that up, you need to put that in place.
There was also a presentation from Tokwe Adebanjo, an international investor and expert in gemstones processing. He emphasized the need to add value to our solid minerals before exporting them.
I'm here to talk a little bit of gemstones and then the non-metallic, like I said. The pegmatite that we have in Nigeria can be likened to that of Brazil. You know, they tested the hardness of our topaz. Very, very hard. Harder than the one in India. Eventually, you know, there's this man, he's an Indian man, comes to Nigeria to Jos. The guy will stay for 2 weeks and go back. He came for topaz. After buying one full load container of topaz, you know, so he goes back and then cut and polish them. Cut and polish the topaz. And then, you know, they treat them, you know, they add value to them. They turn them to blue topaz, yellow topaz, all sorts of topaz you can think of. And that's how they make their money. After 3 months, the same guy will come back. You know, we have some gemstones that are even more expensive than diamond. Somebody clearly mentioned that. It's called Arabia tourmaline. Quite expensive than diamond. We sell in grams, they cut and polish them, then they sell in carats. And we have 5 carats in 1 gram.
The last presentations were made by Mr. Massey, the head of mining department of IDC of South Africa, and John Sisi, a mining industrialist from Sierra Leone, whose company is listed on the London Stock Exchange. They both shared their global experiences in the mining industry.
Nigeria has the opportunity to do proper beneficiation. And I think as Africans, we need to really break these limitations that we have in our minds sometimes, that we have to just export the primary and somebody else will make the steel and then sell it back to us. We can do it. There's no reason why we can't do it, because the economics of it justifies the investment. One of the great things you'll find once your mining explodes, I'm sure it will in the next few years, is that the economic justification of moving infrastructure to your hinterlands and your rural areas, it's not there if mining is not there. Mining is one of the easiest ways you can spread infrastructure throughout the country. Where we mine, we maintain all our roads. We maintain over 520 kilometers of roads. We had to build our own power station because there's no power. We have about 30 megawatts of power that we have to maintain. We had to build our own river port because there was no way of getting the goods out. We did all those things because our ore deposit justified it, the economics justified it, and we maintained them, and we're still able to make money. So mining can really spread wealth right throughout the country. The most important things that I can say is, first of all, you can't get away from the fundamentals. The ore body has to be there. On whatever you're doing, the quality has to be there, or the volume has to be there. Secondly, you can't get away from good management. You know, you're constantly asked about this question of governance. And I get very irritated in London when people ask me about governance, as if Africans are incapable of governance. You're sitting here, you've got Bank BOI, I'm sure they have excellent governance. They've got a AA rating. You've got so many institutions in Nigeria that have excellent governance. But unfortunately, from a perception point of view, that's the first thing people go at. And it's not a concern for me, because as an African, I know I run a company with excellent governance, and I know many Africans that do. So this is not a massive hurdle. It's just something, again, like I said, a perception.
The banks will only come to you when you have done everything. Banks are not in exploring or financing, you know, early stage mineral. So the question of why they want a collateral from you. Exploration is done by pure equity. It's never done by loan. And if you are a junior miner, you don't have data. It's very difficult for me to finance you if I don't know how much mineral is there. And most people do mine and make money. But if they haven't done the right studies, I can't finance you because I don't know if you just happen to be lucky, there's a small piece, you happen to be lucky, or it's deep. I don't know. So you need to do some work. Then your work can result in you having equity. But at early stage, we will still put in some equity. And as John said, don't expect too much cash. You know, you have just done 3 holes, you come and say now you want $1 billion. It can't be. And you want to own 50% of this project. It's totally different. But I think that's a reality that people have to accept, but it takes a lot of convincing, and most people never even implement their project.
In his wrap-up, the managing director of BOI enjoined all stakeholders to support the bank's new drive towards the development of mining in Nigeria.
Perhaps Nigeria should focus more on small-scale mining, as opposed to the big multinational companies, because those ones really do not create much employment in our country, and usually they are people who are looking for raw materials, for their own manufacturing facilities in the developed countries. As a DFI, BOI, we've learned that for our SMEs, the focus is more in the non-metallic industrial minerals. So we will be properly guided, going forward in that area. Obviously, there's a need to develop the necessary infrastructure for this sector to develop, especially our rail network. It's very important. We at the Bank of Industry, we will submit a proposal, to the federal government to ensure that this fund can also be transferred, to the Bank of Industry for use in developing our solid mineral sector. These are just highlights of some of the things that have come out. There will be a properly articulated communique which we will share with the government, to ensure that really this can be the starting point for a turnaround, in our efforts to really develop the solid mineral sector.